Let's get specific, shall we? In this episode, we're going to talk about the details. So things like how we powder coated our coastal off-road bumper, the ins and outs of finding reflectors for it, finally getting the van registered with the state of Oregon, and we're going to talk fuel tanks, specifically long-range fuel tanks, and the benefits of having them and why we chose them. So let's go ahead and get started with the details, shall we?
We shall. Anytime you have a four-wheel drive vehicle and you venture off the beaten path, it's important to go prepared. No pun intended, but we've got certain parts and pieces and equipment that we are going to be running on our new Delica Space Gear L400, such as the worn Xeon 8S that we just took off of the rally tractor to put onto this, along with the Epic Fairlead and hook. And the hook may or may not have a bottle opener on it. Don't know if you can see that very well. May or may not work very, very well. Along with Light Force, Venom 6-inch round LED lights, and the Rock 40 floodlights, which have actually a little bit of a cover on them just to shield the lights when they get installed so that they don't get scratched. So good lighting, good recovery gear, winches, all of that stuff is all very, very important to know how to use, know how to run before you get out on the trails so that you can run your four-wheel drive successfully on them.
So here we are at Precision Powder Coating in Portland. You can see the bumper has been coated with a white primer after being sandblasted. And just like any other form of surface prep, you've got to make sure the surface is good and ready for your final product. And in this case, that's going to be powder coating. If the surface isn't prepped properly, you're going to get poor adhesion. So here you can see, after all of that work, they are finally powder coating the bumper itself, getting into all of those nooks and crannies. So powder coat is more expensive than paint, but it's also more durable and arguably a superior product compared to painting. So it stands up to things like dirt and your usual road debris and stuff better than paint. And if you happen to live in a salty environment, maybe like the Midwestern part of the US, or somewhere that salts roads, or maybe even an ocean environment, powder coat is going to provide superior corrosion resistance compared to paint. So we were extremely happy with the way Precision Powder Coating did our coastal off-road bumpers, and the final product looked fantastic.
All right, so I'm not sure if I've ever seen an underbody of a 1994 look so darn good. Mark from MPH did an absolutely fantastic job 415ing this whole entire bottom part. Sans the tank that we're going to be taking out today, and the exhaust system we're going to be replacing. But he spent quite a lot of time making sure that every inch is covered in this guy.
So last time we talked, we showed you the front and rear of our 94 Mitsubishi Delica Space Gear. Today we're actually going to show you something underneath it. And you might not be able to see a whole lot of it, but that's kind of by design. What we have installed is a long-range automotive tank brought in by Long Range America. And what that is it's an extended range fuel tank. So we now have approximately 125 liters or 33 gallons worth of diesel fuel underneath the vehicle. So as you may be able to see under here, it just barely peaks down right here. So that's going to give us a whole ton of range. And if we did the math right, it should actually be over 600 miles of range on this 94 Delica Space Gear, and that's with the 4M40 2.8 liter turbo diesel engine. So the installation was really straightforward. This is a replacement tank, and all that extra range is going to be really helpful. This is actually the second time we've had a long-range tank. We have a long-range transfer tank, so an additional tank, on our 91 Mitsubishi Pajero that we took to the Alcan 5000 rally, and that took us all the way up to Tuktoyaktuk at the Arctic Ocean. And we found that having that extra bit of range was really crucial when we're doing so much traveling, especially long-range traveling. So what better product to have for long-range travel than a long-range automotive product?
OE tank is currently out. You can see the line of where the port 15 ends and where the new tank is going to fit in. The old tank looks so sad.
This isn't our first experience with a long-range automotive tank. This is actually the second. The first one was a little bit different than this, though. The first one was what we call an auxiliary tank or a transfer tank, meaning it's a second tank that goes on board the vehicle. So you maintain the factory tank, and then you add the other one.
And that was with our Pajero, right?
That's right. That was our 91 Mitsubishi Pajero that we took on the Alcan 5000 Winter Rally.
That was so much fun.
It was a lot of fun. And in fact, it actually turned us on to wanting a tank in this vehicle because we were able to get well over 500 miles of range with that transfer tank.
We were range spoiled, I think.
We were, yeah. The only bad thing about it is you have to stop and go to the bathroom before you have to get fuel.
Right, but especially in negative 40.
Yeah, but so this tank is a replacement tank. You simply pull out the old 75 liter or about 20 gallon tank and you insert the new 125 liter or
33 gallons, yeah.
33 gallon tank. So it's like that lickety split.
Yeah, and Wanderlust Overland put this tank in, the L400, in about 3 or 4 hours, and it was their first one that they actually put a tank in for this specific van. Long-range automotive tanks are made in and also based in Australia, but we've got some awesome partners, U.S. distributors in Idaho called Long Range America. So they just recently sourced this, and it came via slow boat back out over to us, and we just recently put it in. Of course, due to COVID, we haven't had a chance to really drive this quite as much as we want to, but for future travels, once we can get back into Canada, we'd love to go back, travel around on and off-road up there in Canada, but for now, we're kind of regulated to the United States, but when we are able to get back out, we want to travel all around and do the things that we normally do.
See the world by Delica.
Oh,
even
yeah.
Travel by Delica.
Hashtag TBD Tractor. All right, the Delica L400 with regular headlights, bright lights, the Light Force Venoms, and now the Light Force Venoms with the Rock 40 auxiliary fogs on the side. Very bright. Oh my gosh, can't wait to get this puppy on the road and off-road actually.
What a beautiful day on the sand dunes. So we thought today was a great day to come out and play in the sand with our van for its first real off-road excursion. So since we talked last, we've gotten this bumper from Coastal Off-Road completely installed. We've got the Light Force Venom lights completely wired up, along with the Rock 40 lights in the corner. Our Warren Xeon 8S is all set up, ready for pulling duty. And then, most importantly today, we have this super stout Coastal Off-Road skid plate installed on our L400 Space Gear. So this guy has been a nice piece to have in the sand and anywhere else off-road, simply because it's protecting some of the real vital components underneath the van. That includes things like the oil filter, the oil pan, etc. So when you're even out here in the sand and you might come across a stump or a berm or something, you don't have to worry about it possibly getting hung up on something. So beautiful day out here on the sand, and we're really having a good time with our van. So one of the best parts about this bumper in particular is the fact that it has a winch mount integrated into it. So all you got to do is take your favorite winch and install it, wire it up, and you're going to be ready to pull. So in this case, we've got our Xeon 8S winch. We removed the control pack and relocated that behind this bumper using Warren's kick. So with the Coastal bumper here, you have plenty of room to reach in here to get right to your clutch control lever. Simply turn it, and then you can go into free spool mode. So with this in particular, we went with Warren's wireless control system, and all that does is frees you from the cable, right? Usually a remote control has a 12-foot lead on it. This is going to give you at least 50 feet. So you can see it's got two oversized buttons on it and an activation sequence to prevent accidental power-ups. You hold that until the light turns green, and then you've got power. Especially when you forget to turn the clutch control handle. But luckily, it's a very easy to get to clutch control handle, and then you can power it. Ta-da! So at the back of the van, we've got our Coastal Off-Road setup fully accessorized right now. So on the spare tire, we have a set of Max Tracks being held on by one of their handy Max Tracks holders. On the spare tire, on this side of the spare tire, I should say, we have the jerry can holder from Coastal Off-Road with a Wavian water can. So why aren't we carrying fuel instead of water? Well, we also just installed a brand new 125 liter, which is about 33 gallons, long-range automotive tank brought in through Long Range America that allows us to carry a lot more fuel. So we don't need to carry extra fuel here, we're carrying it under there. So this whole deal, all of this stuff easily opens up. You've got a lever here that simply undoes like that. Then there's a T-handle here, and the whole works opens up just like that. So we've got room for our BF Goodrich KO2, we've got our Max Tracks, we've got our water, and underneath there we have our fuel. So also of note, recovery points. We've got an integrated hitch receiver that is perfect for our shackle receiver bracket. We've got 2 welded eyelets for shackles should we need to be pulled out that way. And then these are actually going to get some reflectors here shortly. But overall, this is a really, really handy setup and is going to be really versatile for traveling and off-roading at the same time.